PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Welcome to PCN. We have a full show tonight with stories from the South Shore. We bring you to a town planning charrette in Kingston, a Prom Angels fundraiser in Pembroke, and Design Corner is back with some downsizing tips.
PCN stops to a Harlem Wizard game at Silver Lake, and we meet an amazing small company who leaves nothing to waste.
We jump down to South Plymouth to see the installation of a new telescope, and Town Talk brings Pembroke Town Administrator to the set.
We begin with a big project going on now in Duxbury Harbor. Duxbury's long-awaited dredging project has begun. The harbor has not been cleared out in many years, which creates navigation problems for boaters and emergency personnel in the harbor. Dredging uses large scooping equipment to dig out mud, weeds, and sediment and move it to another location in order to keep waterways deep enough for boats to move. PCN met up with Duxbury's harbor master, who took us out to see the equipment and to hear how the project is advancing.
The scow is the large steel thing that's in front of you. That's what they're putting the dredge material into. And the boat with the crane on it is the crane barge. The actual project itself was authorized by Congress in 1942. And it was developed in essence to enable our warships the ability to make safe port or a safe harbor. And ever since then, they've been dredging it. You have the federal project, which is 100% funded by the federal government. The federal project is a joint venture between Burnham Dredge and Cashman Dredge. So what they're going to do is this channel is going to be 100 feet wide and 9 feet deep when they're done with it. They will be taking approximately 230,000 cubic yards of material out of this channel, which is about a mile long, and out of the anchorage, which is 21 acres in size. At the time of low tide, the float that you're actually standing on almost goes aground. So these boats, these rescue boats, police boats, law enforcement boats, weren't able to gain access. We're hoping at the end of this project, which will happen, there'll be 9 feet of water under you, and there'll be plenty of water for our boats to be able to respond to emergencies or any public safety issues. And then you have the piggyback projects, which includes Bayside Marine, Battelle Labs, the town of Duxbury, Duxbury Bay Maritime School, and the Duxbury Yacht Club. And what we hope to do is, while they're in here dredging the federal project, they would be able to dredge our small projects. A lot of our shoaling is caused by storm activity that happens during the winter months. It probably should be dredged every 10 to 15 years, but the process of getting federal funding, competing for those federal funds, our permits, the engineering, it's a very long, tedious, and very competitive project. And because of that, we go approximately 20 years. The last time that this project was dredged was in 1997. It's meant for one reason only, to be able to tie vessels off to and scows off. Our disposal site for this project is Cape Cod Bay. This project was on, and then it was off, and then it was on. And so the actual project was delayed, which shortened the window of opportunity for these guys to finish this project by December 31st. That's the mandate because of endangered species, right whales in Cape Cod Bay.
Kingston's town planning held a 3-day event geared around getting public feedback on what people want to see and not see in town. Residents were able to participate in several ways with different events and hear from professionals and town representatives on topics ranging from open space to traffic flow. PCN stopped into one of the first events to learn more.
Well, today is the first day of a 3-day design charrette. It's a French word that means we all get together and draw pictures about things that we like and things that we prefer to see. So today is the first day of that 3-day design process. We have had a couple of group activities, identifying places that people love, identifying places that people would like to see improved. And then from those discussions, we'll be making sketches from the designers and things like that we've hired as part of the master plan team.
This is sort of the first step in the process of putting together a master plan. So we're really at a stage where we're evaluating the community in terms of its makeup, open space, land uses, housing, transportation, infrastructure, community services, so that as we start to put together this plan for the future land use, we're on solid ground in terms of understanding what the real potential and constraints are, the challenges are going to be, and then how we address those to make sure that what the community wants and envisions happening in the future are realistic and practical, and we can address through a detailed series of implementation steps.
We ask folks to identify what they love about Kingston. And look at what's great about being in this town, living in this town, working in this town. And from there, we want to go look at those places, understand. So we ask people to draw those all on the map. And then on the other end of the spectrum, what don't they like about Kingston? Where's their traffic? Where's their building that could be better used? And we ask them to identify that as well. And then, that's sort of all on a map. And we ask them, well, what things do you want to see in this Kingston future? What's the vision for your town 20, 30 years from now for your kids? And ask them to look at a number of photographs and say, is that in the future for Kingston or not? And it's been a really fascinating discussion. A lot of great ideas have emerged from it. The passion that a lot of folks have for Kingston, I mean, there's some amazing assets to the town that are not fully being utilized for the citizens and the public. And, the river, the access to water, this idea of an interconnected public space, open space network, so folks could travel around town by bicycle very easily. And then also how to better utilize the rail transit and to have more sort of transformational growth in the community. And where can that go? Sort of starting to talk about how do we knit those two things together. So it was a really, really fascinating discussion, and we're going to be looking at how you all might do that here for the next 3 days.
The intent was to take a big map of the entire town and allow people at an individual table to identify where they live, where they work if it's in town, and all the things that they love. And then they could take that and talk about all the things that they wanted to see change to enhance the things that they love. So it could be individual areas, it could be large areas, and then the pictures that they printed allowed people to say, I like this is what I had in mind, versus I didn't care for this. So that was really key. The interactions between the people and the people that we've hired to come in was really awesome. People were very passionate. The people with Ted's group and the other groups were also very willing to help focus our ideas and give people a direction. So that was really key, and I hope that that continues over the next 3 days.
Prom Angels is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide safe, fun, and socially empowering activities for people with special needs. They recently held a golf tournament to help raise funds for upcoming events such as their big annual Halloween party.
Today's event at the Pembroke Country Club is the annual Prom Angels Golf Classic. Registration right now is going on after 11 o'clock, and we're doing a tee-off time. We're going to have a shotgun start at 1 o'clock, and we have about 13 teams, an A team and a B team on every hole. We're a little short this year, but we're looking forward to have a wonderful day. As you can see out here, it's a beautiful sunny day. We've got hundreds of raffle prizes that were donated, silent auction items, and everything is fantastic. We have a helmet that was signed by Patriots player Ron Gronkowski, and that's out there. That's going to be a live auction item. We also have 4 tickets that were donated to the Heineken Room for a Celtics game. That was courtesy of PV Plumbing Supply Company. We also have 2 great tickets to a Bruins game on December 12th. Those were donated by my brother Steve McKenna. And we've got raffle prizes. We have gift certificates to restaurants. Everything that you can imagine will be here at the Pembroke Country Club, and just for a wonderful time. The Prom Angels was started 8 years ago, and I started on behalf of my daughter, Victoria McKenna. And the reason I started it was because of the ignorance of the people when it concerns special needs in our community. And as a result of that, I then started the foundation with the help of the Knights of Columbus. And now we're entering 6th year, which will be next year, putting on our special needs prom here at the Pembroke Country Club. Everything that you and I had at a prom our special needs community has here at the Pembroke Country Club. And I reach out to a number of fraternal organizations as well as a lot of businesses in the area asking for their support. In addition, we also have a lot of people that live in group homes all over the South Shore. We have people from Carlton Cushing, we have people from New England Villages, and people from RTR. There's really no age limit on it, because a couple of years ago I had a woman from Cape Cod who came here with her father. He was 88 years old and she was 66 years old, and when they arrived, he was dressed in a tuxedo and she was dressed in a beautiful prom dress. And I just assumed it was the parents of somebody. And I said to Mr. Murphy, I said, Mr. Murphy, nice to meet you. And I said, this must be your wife. He goes, no, this is my daughter. And he goes, my daughter's never been to a prom before, and now I can go to heaven knowing that she went to a prom, and thank you very much for making my day. So that's one of the special stories that makes it really special for me to get out there and surround myself with people who have a passion. And this prom is growing every year. It gets bigger and bigger. And it's thanks to the people in the community and our sponsors like Longhorn Restaurant, Staples, Pembroke Center Liquors. Like, you look at this mountain bike I have here. This is donated from Holly Dunlap at Pembroke Center Liquors. I mean, I'm not a shy person. I reach out to everybody. And this golf tournament will help us pay for the prom next year. And it's just going to be a wonderful time. If people want to go to the prom, all the information is on our website at www.promangels.org. And the prom next year will be the third Saturday in May at the wonderful Pembroke Country Club.
The Science and Technology Educational Partnership Foundation, or STEP, works to provide science and technology programs to schools and the community. They look for partnerships for such initiatives and found one in South Plymouth at Camp Borndale. Late Plymouth resident Bill Luzader, who was the director for the planetarium at Plymouth Intermediate School, had a dream to have an observatory and telescope in town to complement his work. Camp Borndale identified itself as an ideal location for that initiative and will bring it into the camp's program of educational outdoor activities. PCN was able to see the telescope in operation and learn more about its new purpose.
Hi, I'm Arnie Gerson. I'm the owner and operator of Camp Borndale. We have been an outdoor education center since actually the mid-70s, when we started bringing middle school students into Borndale for a science-oriented program. And obviously the time has passed and the technology has just improved dramatically. And having this observatory here as part of our outdoor education program is very, very special. The implications as to what it can do and what we can bring to students. This is also going to be part of our summer camp program, which has primarily for years and years been a sports-oriented program. And not that sports is taking a back seat, but now families and students are interested in marine science, this program dealing with the astronomy, etc. So we are really truly delighted as to what it can do and what we can bring to students. Now the outdoor education program is about a 7-month program, spring and fall, where primarily middle school students from a variety of communities come to Borndale for a science program. And obviously the science is important, but the ramifications of the outdoor ed program with the sociability of kids spending time together above and beyond the academic time really makes their stay here very, very worthwhile. So we are truly delighted to have this as an amenity for our program, and I know that we're going to be able to give to students something that is far-reaching from what we've done in the past. So we want to thank Mike Petrasco for his work and how nicely he has worked with us in providing this kind of technology for students.
The observatory was actually provided to Camp Borndale by the STEP Foundation. They raised money in their foundation for this observatory about 10 years ago and was looking for a good home for it. So after scoping out different places, surveying other properties, they realized that this was the perfect fit for it. So they then brought it over here and built the decking here and had it installed, and then actually hired us to come in and actually connect it and get it all functional. The telescope is a GPS remote robotic telescope, and it allows to be controlled from a computer. And it's got a 10-inch mirror in it, and it's good enough to image the planets and some other deep sky objects as well, but mainly the planets, the brighter objects, and that'll allow people to observe them in the house. There's a computer that controls the telescope and the dome out here with some software. And then there'll be eventually, there'll be a imaging camera attached to the telescope that will provide images of the planets and the sun with a special filter, and the moon, and galaxies as well. The computer has the software on it called Starry Night that connects to the telescope and the observatory dome. So you can, it's planetarium software, so it shows you the night sky, and then you point to an object, and you click on it, and you say go to that object. So if the moon, or let's say Saturn, is on that software, you click on the object, and the telescope would then slew to that object. It was a great opportunity for us to do something like this. Normally what we do are star parties and observing sessions, but to actually implement this was a first for us. It's known as a remote robotic telescope system. So it took a while. We had some challenges, but it was well worth it, and we were very fortunate to have the opportunity to do it.
Seeing professional athletes up close can be a pretty amazing thing. For some reason, they always seem bigger than one may have anticipated. When those same athletes come to your school, talk to your kids about the importance of education, confidence, and character, and then play against the teachers in a fundraising basketball game, they become larger than life. The Harlem Wizards are the Harlem Globetrotters in waiting, and they came to Silver Lake High School in Kingston to do just that. Kids, parents, and teachers alike all had a great time and watched a truly entertaining basketball game.
We wanted to have a fun, family-oriented event where we were fundraising a little bit, but mostly it was just gathering the community together. The Harlem Wizards are a great role model. They come to the school, they talk to the children about good character and just working hard for your goals. So we incorporated them into our school. They're going to play against a team of 30 teachers and administrators here at Kingston. So we have representation from middle school, high school, elementary, and intermediate school here in Kingston. And it's going to be a great event. We're raising funds for the Kingston PTO, but we've also asked the Kingston Foundation for Education to come and set a concession stand so that we can make money as well. We have a donation jar out for the Teachers Association. They raise scholarship funds, so it's kind of fundraising for a lot of us, but it's intended for a fundraiser, but we knew going into that even if we were making a fortune, it was really just to have a fun community night. The players came to our school today and did an assembly. They embarrassed the teachers a little bit, and got the gym teacher involved, so it was just a really good time to see your teachers as a real human being and just humanizing it all. So, and they are so excited. When every kid found out their teacher was playing, they were like chomping at the bit to get tickets, and we sold out really quickly, so our hope is next year, if the teachers are willing to do it again, that we'd have a bigger venue so we can actually make it happen again and have more people involved. If you've heard of the Harlem Globetrotters, it's very similar to them. I think they're their farm team. Their focus is on schools. They work for the 9 months out of the year. They're on the road. They visit schools across the country, and they go again to help fundraise. They make it a fun fundraising event for the schools and the PTOs and other organizations. They are going to be full of tricks and tips and acting goofy, really kind of making a fool of you. They're going to run circles around half the teachers, but that's all right. It's expected. It's all in good fun. And they will just really make it a fun time to watch basketball. Especially people who aren't basketball fans, they're going to love it no matter what.
Would you guys go crazy? You can do it. Hurry up, ladies.
The South Shore is loaded with talented artists and artisans whose artistic endeavors may not be making the cover of the Boston Globe, but here at PCN, we like to showcase some of that talent. We met up with one of these craftsmen at his workshop in an undisclosed location in Plymouth to get a behind-the-scenes look at his work with reclaimed wood.
Oftentimes, the best way to get some really good work done is with the fewest number of distractions around as possible. We met up with a woodworker here in Plymouth who's taken that concept to the next level.
If you can't find this place on your first try, believe me, you won't be alone. It's located off of Sandwich Road in Chiltonville. But for Scott Brine, most of his business takes place at artisans markets. It's down the end of this driveway in a barn that he finds his woodworking sanctuary.
We won't give away the exact location. This way Scott Bryant can enjoy his privacy.
I more enjoy the serenity of the area that I'm in, and it helps me concentrate on my work. I feel like I'd be taken away from that if I had a storefront or, was always with customers, and then it would be taking me away from my craft.
This former carpenter from Kingston has been able to combine his woodworking skills with his background in design and art to create functional furnishings and decorative pieces for homes, using wood that may have been thrown away if he hadn't gotten to it.
I named the company the Over Again Company primarily for the reason that I use reclaimed wood and/or I repurpose things. So it's kind of my little small statement to my carbon footprint. But in the same respect, it's the materials I use. I find have more character to it than new wood or new materials.
For those who may not know, reclaimed wood is material from a previously existing structure, but still has some life left to it. It is then repurposed or converted into items that have a rustic feel with a restored look. There's a growing market out there for these items, but Scott Bryant still hasn't gone fully mainstream with his business.
I work out of my shop here. A lot of it's word of mouth. I do open markets in Boston, which in turn will get me a lot of word of mouth work and then repeat business. I don't have a website yet. We're currently working on that, and it will be up soon. So aside from knowing me personally or seeing my work and hey, who did that, that's where I am right now.
For now, you'll have to either find him at an open market, or if you're feeling lucky, you can try to locate him here at his barn.
For PCN in Chiltonville, I'm Brian Sullivan.
We're happy to bring you back our Design Corner segment with Setting the Space, who bring us some downsizing tips.
Hi, I'm Sue.
And I'm Will from Setting the Space.
And today we are at PCN's Design Corner, and today we're going to talk about downsizing, creating simplified, stress-free living.
In this home, for instance, it's very monochromatic, which can be very easy on the eyes, very restful. The legs of the furniture, the walls, the ceiling, everything is the same color, and that's on purpose.
That's so true, Will. Even not only the paint, but we've chosen here the fabrics. All the fabrics, the texture of the rug, all of it are the same tone and color as the walls, which really creates that sense of calm.
It's so true, Sue. Everything is the same color. That monochromatic look relates to stress-free, easy on the eyes, calm, simple, easy living.
Which we all are thriving for.
This is very attainable. Downsizing, which is what a lot of people are doing now, is something very simple to do. It does not have to be overwhelming. It's something that we can all do. It just means getting rid of stuff. And that's what's happened in this house, as well as the color scheme.
Right, and downsizing doesn't mean that you have to move necessarily.
It doesn't. Once you free up all your stuff, you may go, oh,
yes,
we're staying here.
And I've heard it said too that, an easy way to downsize is to take an item and to really look at it and say, does it bring me joy?
Have I used this in the last year?
Exactly. And if not, you know what? Like, send it on to the next person. Let somebody else enjoy what you've had so much pleasure with, but free that space up.
Yep.
So when you look at downsizing, you don't need to look at it in a negative way. What it is really very positive. When you begin to let those things go, it's not about like a sentimentality, but it's paring down. We like to use the word refining. What you're bringing is a refinement to your sense of style, the new way of living, and it's refreshing. And so as you enter into that new season, you're going to sense this whole new freedom to live in a whole new way.
Town Talk tonight brings Pembroke's Town Administrator Ed Thorne to our set. Welcome, Ed.
Julie, always a pleasure.
Pleasure to have you. Now, town meeting has wrapped up again for the fall, and a couple things have come out of the meeting. So why don't you go into what we're going to do next?
Yeah, the appropriations for several projects were passed, and so those are things that we were going to be working on. The first one that comes to mind is the Route 14 corridor project. There are 3 drainage projects that will be done in association with that. That project is worth about $120,000, and that'll be in conjunction with the overall $8 million project. And that hopefully we'll bid it out in the spring, and a bid award, and construction could start about a year from now on Barker Street and Center Street, as we know them in Pembroke.
Okay. Barker and Center is the first location of that.
That's correct.
Okay. There's other locations that we're having drainage issues on?
Up at Pembroke High School, we discovered that we had some surface water runoff problems, and it was due to a detention basin that wasn't built large enough to handle all of the surface water that's up at the high school with the turf field and all the other amenities that we have up there. So we've engineered a project preliminarily, and we're going to be bidding it out to the tune of about $385,000 for the actual construction of the detention basin up there at the high school.
Okay, and this is just now that we realize this? I mean, the high school's been there for quite a while.
Yeah, the work was done 10 years ago, but obviously they didn't think that there was going to be that much runoff up there. And it's a high point in that area.
Right.
So obviously anything that's up at the high school, the turf field and all the other ball fields that are up there will certainly run off downhill as water goes.
Right. And there's another furnace pond?
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting project because we looked at dredging Furnace Pond about 7 years ago.
What happened with that?
Well, we didn't have a place to put the stuff that we take out of the pond.
Oh, all right.
So that turned out to be very important, and that's why the price tag was in excess of $20 million.
Oops.
So, and the reason we're dredging the pond is that as the pond slowly fills up with sediment, it starts to choke the life out of the marine and plant life that's in the pond.
Right.
And also, Furnace Pond happens to be the passageway for the herring to get to Oldham Pond to spawn. So it's a very important body of water in town. And when we purchased the property last spring across Mattakesa Street, so we can pipe the stuff under Mattakesa Street to dry out on a 10-acre site that we purchased a year ago, then that'll allow us to, kind of finish the project and hopefully lower the price tag down to a more manageable $4 to $5 million, we think.
Great, and again, we'll bid that in the spring.
That's correct.
Okay, and community preservation projects in our last minute?
Yeah, we have a couple of projects on historical buildings in the center of town, and also we have five recreational facility projects that were funded as well, ranging from $2,000 to $7,000.
Great, and you can tell us all about those next time that you're on set?
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, and thank you for watching this week's show. Replay times and links are on our PACTV's website, and you can find us on YouTube. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for previews and links to all of our shows. We'll see you next week for more PACTV Community News.